it shows that Jake Paul actually does have some crack in his shots.
I'm a hater, so, I'm going to speak for the haters for a little bit. Do you think the reason why he's just knocking everyone else because he's on PEDs?
Oh.
Did you see his traps? And those traps are crazy.
I'm not even going to lie. Like, he's made a crazy body transformation. So, I think for Colbert, it was just a wrong game plan. I think he needed to box a lot more head movement, and get off those ropes, man. Once he got on those ropes and started shelling up, that was perfect for Valenzuela to just rip to the body, to the head in like 5, 6, 7 punch combination.
It reminded me kind of like of the Manny Pacquiao knockout on Twitter,
They're
man.
saying he quit.
They're saying he quit.
They're saying Sonny Edwards quit. No, I don't believe. Nah. Listen, he was out on his feet, man. I think the referee could have stopped the fight. He was definitely concussed.
AJ has locked himself in a dark room for months now, so hopefully he has unlocked something or learned something new about himself.
Hopefully he hasn't gone insane.
I do want him to be insane. Maybe we can see a glimpse of 2016 AJ this Saturday.
Welcome back to the Last Round podcast. You got me, Pablo.
You got me, Rudo.
You got me, Asael.
And let's talk some boxing. Now, you guys see this? Celsius. That's what Jake Paul did to Andre August on Friday night. Jake Paul coming off a 12-round decision against Nate Diaz, came back with the same outfit, same drip, and pulled off a good performance. A KO win over the undisputed 3-time Golden Glove champion. See all those belts he had, amateur star. Could have been on the U.S. Olympic team, but, decided to give the other people a chance. What do you guys thought about Jake Paul?
Jake Paul did what he had to do, man. I mean, it was... I think he kind of needed that after the performance against Nate, where it was like a little bit more laid back. I think he was a lot more respectful in that fight. He could have done a lot more. I don't think he was really that satisfied with his win. But he got exactly what he wanted. He went in there first round KO against a professional boxer, gaining experience in a smaller venue. This is exactly what Jake Paul is needed to go down the path that he wants to go down, which is become a world champion in boxing.
Yeah, I've always said it before. I'm a Jake Paul hater. Last week I gave him a prediction that...
Damn, you were a hater.
I really thought Jake Paul was biting more than he could chew, but obviously not. With that performance, you kind of say it could be in the top 10 of a knockout of the year contender type stuff. So... really good performance against a tough guy, a guy who has a decent resume, amateur resume. So I'm interested to see what's next for JP for 2024.
Yeah, well, the Celsius, I guess, is he's been marketing that like crazy, man. I mean, throughout the whole fight, it was a Celsius going in. I guess we're not a Celsius group right here ourselves, but
Hey, bro, that drink got me amped up, though. I can't lie. And, I mean, maybe he'd be drinking that before the fights in his locker room.
Maybe that's the secret to winning.
And that's what gives him he forgot to drink it against Tommy Fury. That's why he didn't win.
Yeah, if you want to be a world champion like Jake Paul, you have to start drinking Celsius. I think that's the moral of the story here.
Regardless of that, pretty devastating one-punch KO. People. I saw people online. They were saying it was fake. It was staged, They're like, how are you a 10-1 pro boxer and not see that uppercut coming? And I was like, bro, come on, what are you guys on about, man?
Yeah, and they're talking about like, oh, you're a 10-1 and you can't take one punch. I'm like, guys, boxing is like a sport where like one punch can change the outcome of a fight, and that's what you saw.
Yeah, one false move and it's over. You know what I'm saying? Not like any of these other sports where you score a goal, you can still come back. No, if you get hit with a good, well-placed shot, you're done.
You're done.
Yeah.
So like, I don't think a lot of people, and of course it's the casuals. I mean, Jake Paul brings in a lot of casuals who don't know boxing and just want to see him fight and obviously lose. So they always have something to say. They're always talking about rigging the fight, and I mean it should be well documented by now that this Jake Paul is not rigging fights. I mean he fought Nate Diaz. Now I don't think Nate Diaz would take some hush money to let Jake Paul beat him. Like, how embarrassing that is. Yeah,
that would be pretty embarrassing.
Yeah. So.
But it's all these haters that are saying all these excuses or saying all these like. That wasn't a real fighter. That was a padded record or whatever. But Jake Paul is definitely taking the time to actually, as I said before, try in a sense climb the ranks. You know what I'm saying? He's doing like this is the fight where he fought in the smallest venue. You know what I'm saying? It's not really all about money. It's more about legacy or just improving on your craft. And I think JP is doing that. He's gonna continue to do that.
And it's super impressive for Jake Paul to get a one-punch KO. I mean, power for a lot of boxers comes very naturally. And for some reason, it comes very natural for him, man. This is his third, like, one KO shot. Ben Askren. Then we had Tyron Woodley. And now we have Andre August.
It's for Nate Robinson.
Nate Robinson.
Oh, the first one.
Nate Robinson, I guess.
First victim.
He did slump him too.
Yeah.
So he's been slumping guys, man. And like, of course, we're not saying he's slumping the best of the best. Although Tyron Woodley is a respectable UFC fighter, but again, he is a UFC fighter. He is older. But it's still impressive, man. Like, it shows that Jake Paul actually does have some crack in his shots.
Yeah. Well, I'm a hater, so, I'm going to speak for the haters for a little bit.
All right, let's hear it.
But maybe, do you think the reason why he's just knocking everyone else because he's on PEDs?
Oh.
Did you see his traps?
That's the argument.
Man, those traps are crazy.
I'm not even going to lie. Like, he's made a crazy body transformation. Like, before boxing, he was a skinny kid. He didn't even look that athletic, honestly. Logan was always the one that was, the athletic guy, always had a really, really good physique.
He's on PEDs for sure.
And it's all well documented that Logan Paul's on PEDs. But for Jake Paul, for some reason, he just kind of grew into his body. And how old is he? In his 20s, mid-20s, late 20s? 26. He, grew into his body, man. He got, really wide. And for this fight, he weighed in his heaviest that he's ever weighed, 199. And he put on some good muscle. So, I mean, combine that with the power that he's showing and knocking these guys out. I mean, I'm not saying it's conclusive, but it could raise some question marks.
I mean, but he is a wealthy man, and he's able to afford the best camps, the best coach, the best nutritionist, He's able to train like an actual world champion. Regardless of him having little to no amateur experience. I mean, the amateur experience would be against Deji. Yeah. But regardless of that,
amateur experience.
yeah, regardless of that, like, he has the money, the funds to fund these camps, these world-class trainers, the world-class, just environment that he's able to train in. So, I mean, I feel like that could also play a factor, right?
That's one thing you can't take away from Jake Paul. He trains hard. Like, he really is trying. He puts a lot into his training camps. And like you said, I mean, he's dialing it in, like, with everything. He's creating an environment where his boxing is going to grow and get better at a very fast rate. So it could be, I'm not saying nothing conclusive, but just some question marks to be raised. You know what I'm saying? Something to think about, because it's just crazy. Like, you rarely see this type of stuff, especially in an influencer turned boxer, let alone a boxer turned boxer. Because if you take Jake Paul's name out of what he's been doing, this is a very impressive prospect run. I mean, no amateur experience. He's fighting UFC fighters, yes, but that can serve as amateur experience. Yeah. He's already in the brightest of lights. Everyone wants to see him lose. A lot of pressure behind this kid, and he's succeeding. Like, that's impressive.
Well, while Jake Paul was one-shotting Andre August, at the same time, across the pond, you had KSI going to war with Speed, an absolute war. Were you guys able to catch any of the clips?
I caught the ending of it. It was what I expected.
Yeah, I guess Speed's new username should be ISHOWTEARSS. And
he started crying.
He started crying, so I tuned in right at the very end, and once I tuned in, the camera was right in Speed's face, and he was breathing heavy. Like, I've never seen this boy breathe that heavy before. He looked like he was starving. He was all sweaty, gassed out, and then KSI comes and does like an emote dance. And so then afterwards, he just wasn't getting up. He was just literally just sitting on the ground. So KSI just kind of tapped out. And then Speed was like, "You owe me 6 rounds. You owe me 6 rounds." And he starts taking off the gloves. He's like, "It's not fair." And then
it was just like, this Speed. He's not even a boxer really, but KSI used that opportunity to try to take away from Jake Paul.
For sure.
And that's, if we're talking about haters, that's a world-class hater right there.
Yeah.
Like, KSI literally made a stream with one of the biggest streamers to try to get some more viewers away from Jake Paul.
Yeah, he had quite a bit, actually. He had like a little under 200K.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was quite a bit.
They be pulling, yeah.
But now this goes back to, the 2 best influencer fighters, right? I would assume. Mm-hmm. Those 2 got to be your top 2, top 3, whatever,
Um,
is that a fight you guys still want to see in the future?
Of course. I mean, this is one of those fights that if it doesn't happen, then it's always going to be in influencer history that the biggest fight that was never made.
The what if?
The what if, like Jake Paul and KSI are the two biggest names in influencer boxing, and the two best if you want to include Tommy Fury, then obviously. But these guys, I mean, are on the level of their own, and we need to see them fight, man. Like there's been so much back and forth, so much action, so much other big fights have been made, man. Like I don't understand how this can't not be made. So they both talked about it. Jake Paul was asked. He says the same thing, and I'm more inclined to believe Jake Paul because he's actually like he's taking risks, man. Like he really is taking risks. You can't look at his career and say he's not taking risks. Whereas KSI says like the same thing that Jake Paul is running away. I don't believe him because KSI is fighting. Who is he fighting?
He fought Joe Fournier.
Joe Fournier, man. Like,
and he knocked him out in impressive fashion, right?
With an elbow.
The businessman, yeah, the billionaire,
the DJ, no? Yeah. Man, that boy's a DJ. He's everything, man, except a boxer. Yeah. So, yeah, man, it's just one of those fights that like it needs to happen, but everyone's getting tired of it now. They've dragged it on for too long, where people, first of all, don't believe them. The hype has died down, and everyone is just bored of continually being asked, "Yo, you guys gonna fight? Is KSI and Jake Paul gonna fight?" No, like we have to make it happen.
I believe the fight would have been more, or it would have been at its highest, hype, at its peak.
A couple years ago.
No, if KSI would have beaten Tommy. Imagine if he would have beaten Tommy, the world would have been barking for that fight, and I feel that would have been at its highest. But yeah, I feel like I agree. It's a little over marinated at this point. KSI after the Tommy Fury fight, he said he's gonna take a break from boxing, and with KSI, his breaks vary. He sometimes takes half a year, maybe a 4 year. I mean, his last break was like 2 years or nearly 3 years of inactivity. So I don't know how long KSI plans on taking a break from boxing. I'm sure like he's been quite active in the gym since his return. He fought back in August of last year, and then he's been fighting ever since. He's had like he fought the whole Pineda Swarms.
Yeah.
Then he fought, who else did he fight? He fought.
Did he just go straight to Fournier?
No, he went to it was supposed to be Dylan Dennis, and then he faced Temper instead.
Yes.
So he had that one, and then he fought Fournier, and then he fought Tommy. Yeah, so he's been active he's been training hard for a good full year since his return, and now he's taking a break. So who knows how long he's going to take a break. Meanwhile, Jake Paul
is continually grinding.
Yeah, he's working.
So KSI is going to go down after his break because he's said repeatedly that he's not in training. He's not training at all. Like he's completely focused on taking a break, a little vacation. And while KSI's skills are going down, Jake Paul's skills are going up. So the longer this fight goes on, the better it benefits Jake Paul because he is constantly in the gym grinding. Whereas KSI, he's more of a part-time boxer where if he's gonna go all the way, he goes all the way, but he only does it for maybe a year and then he takes a little vacation.
No, yeah, but also you have to take into a factor the age. KSI is what, 30, 31?
No, he's not that old. He's like 30.
30. Okay, 1 year.
Yeah.
But still, Jake Paul is
26.
26. That's 4 years. That's
a good amount of time.
That's a good amount of time
Yeah.
if KSI decides to take a year off.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Jake would be really reaching his like prime. He already looks like he's already going into that process. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. I'm really baking my money. I'm almost like moving my money if they were able to fight. Like I'd probably put it on Jake.
Yeah, I would too. Honestly, I think Jake Paul would take the fight, and as the longer it takes to make the fight, the more it benefits Jake Paul.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's really just interesting to see how that plays out.
Well, yeah, there's levels to the game. Jake Paul's out here fighting elite amateur fighters.
Elite.
Meanwhile, KSI is having wars with a streamer.
Yep.
But speaking of, Jake Paul kicked off the weekend, with a devastating knockout, and that trend continued over to Saturday's fights. We had not only do we have DAZN featuring Bam Rodriguez versus Sonny Edwards, but we also had Showtime's final show, and in that Showtime show, the co-main event, Chris Colbert versus Rayo Valenzuela, it delivered us with a potential knockout of the year candidate. That one was unexpected. devastating, and it had me shook. What were you guys' thoughts about that?
Man, it was such a good fight, man, and it was so reminiscent of their first fight between Rayo and Colbert. Like in the first fight, Rayo dropped Colbert in the first round. In this second fight, Rayo dropped Colbert in the first round again, and then Colbert started coming back. This guy is a dog, man. I think he was concussed, but he's still surviving off instinct. He was able to make it back into the fight until eventually, finally, Rayo was able to get a crazy hook, landed flush, and knocked him out completely cold. This could definitely be a KO of the year contender.
Yeah, man. Very interesting to see how essentially the first round happened. Like the same thing happened in the first fight as it did this past weekend. Yeah, it's really crazy to see why. Honestly, I don't understand the game plan as to why Chris thought that was a good idea. Like it wasn't
bang with him, right?
To bang with him. Like it wasn't a good idea the first time. It's not gonna go any better the second time. And I mean, you can see the results from that. Yeah, really impressive performance. I think Rayo definitely needed something like that. He's been on a 2-loss streak, and now he comes back in a big fashion against a guy who's very slick, very hard to hit, really. So, yeah, the sky's the limit. Now that there's 3 belts on the line, Devin Haney's belts that he vacated, now that he moved up to 140, I could potentially see Rayo being a world champion within a year, 2 years for sure.
It's definitely possible, bro. With this KO of a guy that he lost to, Rayo's career can go up like very quickly. He can advance the ranks, and if he wants to push for a world title, I think it's a great opportunity. He should push for a world title. Get the momentum, keep the momentum that he has from this last fight. Stay active. Try to get a fight early next year, February maybe, for a world title or a world title eliminator. And I think he has a chance, man.
Yeah, how many fights does he have? He doesn't have too many. He has like 16.
I think 16. So. Yeah. So it's under 20.
Under 20.
16 or 18, something like that.
Yeah.
No, actually, I think he has less. I think he might have 12.
Like 12?
He's 12, 2, and 8 knockouts.
Damn, he's rising up pretty quickly then.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting to see how that plays out. Well, what about Chris? What did you think of his performance? I saw a little clip on Twitter, actually, before you even answer. I saw a little clip on Twitter. One of his coaches in his corner, the one who does the mitts, the moment where Rayo lands the left, he just kind of...
The right.
No, the left.
It was a right.
It was a right hook.
Oh,
remember,
okay.
it was backhand, and then it was a right hook, kind of gazelle punch.
Oh, okay.
Where he knocked him out?
Yeah, where he knocked him out.
Right hook.
Oh, yeah, right hook. Yeah. The guy in the corner kind of just raised his hand and just kind of shook his head the moment when Chris lands.
I think with Chris, I think he just had the wrong game plan. I mean, like, and I don't blame him really, because for some reason, Rayo was always just able to hurt him really early in the fight. And that's really hard. Like, when you get concussed, like Colbert, I believe Colbert got concussed, it's hard to go calm your nerves and go back to the game plan that you had set. And I think he kind of he got hurt. He was able to will his way back into the fight, right? But he was trying to, like, fight Rayo Valenzuela, and that's not a good idea, because Rayo Valenzuela, like he showed, has great power, has great speed, and he is known, his best chance at winning a fight is when you bang with him. So I think for Colbert, it was just a wrong game plan, and I don't blame him, you know. I think he needed to box a lot more head movement, and get off those ropes, man. Once he got on those ropes and started shelling up, that was perfect for Valenzuela to just rip to the body, to the head, in like 5, 6, 7 punch combinations.
Yeah, I mean, the only person who's able to bang with Rayo at the moment has been De Los Santos. Yeah, Edwin, and Edwin got the knockout stoppage on him, you know, stopped him. But regardless, yeah, Colbert isn't known to be like that. You know, his style is more just being a slick boxer and moving around, you know, just outboxing you throughout the fight. So for him to try to bang with Rayo was a different approach. Didn't work out. He got slumped. It reminded me kind of like of the Manny Pacquiao knockout when he got knocked out by.
Talk about that here.
When he got knocked out by.
Let's talk about that knockout here.
No,
it's too sad.
When he got sparked by Mark, the way he landed, like, I don't know, it was just like face first. Seemed like it gave me that impression. I thought he died, honestly. And then I liked how. I didn't like, you know, that's a big word, but the fact that the way, you know, they were
it brought me great joy.
No, I'm saying the fact that, you know, the doctors came in and they were in the corner trying to get Chris up, And like I don't know, he tried standing up, but like you could
He almost fell.
He almost fell. Yeah,
He was shaky.
he was still off his eyes. You could tell his eyes were a lot. You can tell a lot from a person's eyes, and you can tell he was still really messed up from that slump.
Being knocked out like that, like I've seen from a lot of fighters, they say it's literally kind of like blacking out for like 20 minutes. Where like they can regain consciousness, right, and they can look like their eyes are open and they're talking to the doctors, but like they don't remember. So I think that's what happened with Colbert, man. He was there, like his eyes were open, he was talking, but he just didn't really seem there. So it's scary sight.
Yeah. So I mean, especially if you get knocked out like that, I don't expect to see Chris Colbert fight at all next year. Maybe not until like the end of 2024, because that was when you get knocked out in that type of way,
Take some time off.
You take a lot of time off, and then it's mentally a mental toll on the fighter, because they're like, damn, I really got sparked out like that, So and also takes time to recover as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Chris not fight until the ends of 2024. But yeah, Rayo, came back, devastating fashion. Has the chance to maybe perhaps be a world champion sometime soon, and keep delivering knockout victories. But switching over to the DAZN side, we're gonna we're gonna go in kind of in deep about the Bam Rodriguez versus Sonny Edwards for the 112 unification. What are you guys' thoughts about that fight? Because for me, I thought it was a really good fight. It was really high. It was a high chest match. High chest match, high IQ fighters. Who were slick, who bring their style, who made this fight competitive. It was a very competitive fight, and I enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite fights this year to watch.
Honestly, me too. I think it could be fight of the year, like a contender. I think it could. I think it was a good fight. It was it was just like it was not what I expected. I expected Sonny Edwards to run a lot more, but credit to him. I'll tip my hat to him, man. My Santa hat to him. Because he was whenever he got hit, he wanted to get the get back. Like, and that really shows a lot of his personality. Like he was not gonna just bow down to Bam Rodriguez. He would get hits, he'd come right back. And I respect him, he really tried his best out there. But it just was not enough. Bam Rodriguez is undoubtedly the king at 115.
112.
What? No,
Was it
115.
It was 115.
Was it what? I thought it was 112.
One of those two.
Whoa.
He's the king of both of those divisions, man. He's the king of both of those divisions.
Yeah, I know his first title was at one. No, actually, yeah. Let's hold on. Let's fact check this. Let's get this right.
Well, yeah, but
talking.
regardless, just keep going.
Regardless.
Yeah, great performance on his part. Exactly what you said. The comment that you made. It was not the fight that I was expecting either. I was expecting Sonny Edwards to be moving a lot more, actually be even extra than what he normally does in a fight like this. But I think when you're fighting against a guy like Bam, you really do need to have some pop in your punches. You really have to set him like stand your ground almost in a sense. And I think he did a good job of negating Bam's body attack. Every time Bam would hit Sonny would always complain to the ref. Like, hey, hit me on the belt. Yeah. Even though it was legit on the belt.
It was legal.
It was legal, shot. But that kind of discourages you, or it kind of makes the referee kind of be on standby. So he did a good job of that. And to my surprise as well, Sonny was in the pocket, not going back too much, and standing and training with him, delivering not concussive blows, but he's definitely popping Bam's head back.
And he was doing a good job. This is the point. Like, Sonny Edwards, if he had more power, this fight against Bam Rodriguez might have been different.
Yeah.
Because he landed some clean shots on Bam Rodriguez. But we know from Sonny Edwards, 20 wins, 4 KOs. He does not have power. Or at least not enough power to where Bam respected it. He would just simply continue to walk down Sonny Edwards, no matter how many times Sonny Edwards would clip him clean, make his neck snap back. It didn't matter. Bam felt nothing, and he just kept on going.
And not only that, but Bam had no marks. Clean face. It almost looked like he wasn't even in a fight. So yeah, kind of sucks for Sonny, but I mean, that's how the fight went. What's next for Bam for you?
I want him. I want him to see. I want to see him go up. I think he can go up. I think he has the body to. He's wider. He's pretty wide. He has a long reach. You know, but he is shorter. That is the one thing that will limit his ability to, you know, just climb the ranks. But I think I want to see him at 118, man. 118. I think it'd be a good. Just continue to get world titles. You know.
Yeah, he first off, the fight was at 112.
112.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, he after the fight he called out Estrada, you know, legendary Mexican champ at those smaller weights. So he called him out. Maybe, you know, people were on Twitter were excited. They're like, oh, that'd be a great fight because Estrada, even though he is a small guy, many people have him in their own top 10 pound for pound. So you know, it'd be very interesting to see Estrada fight Bam Rodriguez. But also saw a lot of people on Twitter saying, oh, we need Bam versus Inoue. And I was like, come on, guys, bro. This dude just fought at 112. Inoue was fighting at 122.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on. You guys are dumb.
They don't really understand. Yeah,
They're haters, bro.
They're not haters.
I think they're just casual.
I think, yeah, they just know that Inoue is a small guy, so they assume that they're, you know, close to each other or in the same way. So, you know, they're trying to pin them up against each other. But no, that's not gonna happen. I don't think
divisions between them.
Three. You got
15, 18, and 22.
Yeah, that's three.
I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw that people were saying that. Regardless of that, yeah, there's a lot more competition. I mean, I'm not really too knowledgeable about the smaller weights, you know, but I guess the heavier you go, the more competition or the more elite, tougher guy they're gonna be there. So it'll be interesting to see what Bam Rodriguez and his team decide on doing for his future for next year, you know. But regardless of that, I think especially that knockdown during the fight against Edwards, it came out of nowhere.
Oh my god.
He sniped him. It was a beautifully timed left. You know, he went to the body, he feinted to the body, and then came right upstairs, changed the levels on Edwards, and Edwards was out on his feet. You know, you could tell he was out on his feet, and then also people on Twitter, man,
saying he quit.
They're saying he quit.
He quit. They're saying saying Sonny Edwards quit. No, I don't believe. No, I don't think so. I don't think he quit because listen, he was out on his feet, man. I think the referee could have stopped the fight. The referee could have stopped the fight. I think he was definitely concussed. And I think it was a good stoppage. I think Sonny Edwards was finished. He got lucky that the round ended because if the round wouldn't have ended and Sonny Edwards would have gotten up, Bam Rodriguez would have gotten on his ass crazy, man.
He would have stopped him.
He would have stopped. There's no doubt in my mind he would have stopped him because it was a clean punch, and you could see it in the way Sonny Edwards fell. Like, he tried his hardest not to fall, and he fell face first. And he when he tried to get up, it was a bit shaky. So I think it was a good stoppage.
I think even if he would have stood up, and let's say the corner didn't stop it, and they send him out for the next round, he would have gotten stopped that round. I believe he would have gotten stopped. So I think the corner made a good decision. Or you know, in this case, Sonny, because Sonny was the one who...
Was he the one that said, like, stop it? Or did his corner stop it?
I'm pretty sure... I mean, if you look at the footage, I mean, he did whisper to one of the corner. Yeah, and then that's where they stopped it.
If he said,
I mean, but Sonny on Twitter did. You know, he came out and he was saying since the second round... his eye, you know, from a sharp jab, you know, because it was swelling, and he has something wrong with his orbital bone now. But he was saying that he started seeing double, you know, throughout a majority of the fight. So he was already having issues with his eye, you know, and also that hard knockout, and he was getting beaten down. So I think, you know, credit to him because he's a warrior. You know, he went to dog it out. He was not scared to try to bang with Bam, but it just sucks that he. You know, I'm pretty sure he wanted to continue, but I mean, it was out of his power at that point.
I think the corner should have stopped the fight, man. I don't think the corner should have been like, go out there and try to do something against Bam Rodriguez. There, I think, if Sonny Edwards told his corner to stop it, I still believe it was the corner's job to stop it. I think they should be able to see that their fighter was done. He was done.
Yeah, I'm glad. You know, I think Sonny did kind of quit. You know, but I don't blame him. You know what I'm saying? He's a warrior. I mean, he was literally like he knew in that moment that he had a moment of clarity. You know, within that knockdown when he got up and he's just like there in the corner of his the corner of the ring. He's probably thinking, yeah, I think this is it.
He's out.
Yeah, I'm out. I know this guy knows that. You know, I'm hurt. he's gonna go in for the kill. There's really no sense.
Like, yeah, he's literally out.
Yeah.
He was out on his feet. It's
So
crazy.
I'm not mad about the stoppage. I think it was a very good stoppage. Sonny was beat up. You know, he had both cuts in his eyes. He had both eyes were cut, and so blurry vision. You know, it was no sense. There's levels to this.
And I don't blame, or I don't I believe him when Sonny says that he saw a double or something. That's what Inoue said as well when he was fighting Nonito Donaire and he got his a very nasty cut in his eye in their first fight. Inoue said as well he was seeing like double, you know, and with those type of cuts, they're so dangerous, man.
I think it's the orbital bone.
Orbital bone,
yeah.
You know,
Billy Joe Sanders also suffered a broken
that one just had
bone.
that shit shattered, man.
Yeah.
His whole face was caved in. That shit was crazy. Yeah. But yeah, like I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, Sonny Edwards was you know, and I think that just gives Sonny more credit, man, because he stayed in the fight and was still swinging, even though he was seeing double. He could have cowered it out and started running around. He could have started hugging. He could have started making it messy and making it unwatchable.
And he was doing a good job of that in certain points throughout the fight.
Not like messy in a sense of like being dirty, more messy in a sense of like not wanting to fight. You know, like just hugging all the time.
Yeah.
And he didn't do that. He didn't do that. He wanted to fight until the very end. I respect Sonny Edwards.
Yeah, Sonny Edwards is a dog. I just hope that Clarissa Shields still gives him a chance.
I don't think so anymore, man. The GOAT only fucks with the world champions.
World champions.
Yeah. Only unified champions. Yeah, so now he doesn't even have one. Yeah. But a lot of people were saying that Sonny Edwards is a hype job. That's what they're saying. A lot of people, he was seeing a lot of hate. Yeah, I think it was completely unwarranted because I've already stated. But what do you guys think about that? Like, is Sonny Edwards a hype job, or was he not as good as people were saying he was?
No, Sonny Edwards is a really good fighter. He's a guy who sticks to boxing. You know, that's his thing. He's being evasive. Having such a weird, awkward style has definitely helped him. Like, he's undefeated for a reason. He's not. You know, he doesn't have that padded record. He's there for a reason. It's hard to land a shot on this guy. He's in and out, almost like if I can compare it to so like another boxer would be Prince Ngannou, man. Just always moving around, always on the legs, shooting jab here and there, feints and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean that's really hard. That's hard to fight against a guy. Much more beat a guy who it's hard to hit.
I think this was just a classic case of a good fighter versus a great fighter. You know, Sonny Edwards, he's a good fighter. You know, over like you said, there's a reason why he's undefeated and why he's a champion. But he went up against many would consider a generational talent in Bam Rodriguez. You know, Bam Rodriguez was just a higher level than Sonny Edwards, and he showed it. You know, after the second half of the fight, Bam started kind of to have his way. It started tilting towards the side, and he started showing the skills and the levels that he was at, and Sonny couldn't keep up with him. So regardless of that, I don't think Sonny Edwards is a high job at all. He's a great fighter, but he was just up against someone who's just a better, higher level than him.
Yeah, that's exactly the case. Like, just because you lose against a great fighter does not mean that you were a high job. Like, the fight was competitive, point blank period. Like that goes to show you that Sonny Edwards, on a lot of levels, was keeping up with Bam Rodriguez, but just Bam, constant pressure, man. That constant pressure that he gives, and just being able to break down his opponents with body shots and combinations. It eventually got to Sonny Edwards, man. Like, the better man won. It doesn't mean that the guy who lost was a hype job.
Yeah, that's the issue with boxing now, because if you're undefeated and then you happen to lose against another great fighter, people just assume that you were just a hype job,
Mm-hmm.
That you were fighting bums your whole career, or your record is padded, and you finally got exposed by someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't, like you said, it doesn't imply that, like Bam is just a great fighter, an exceptional fighter. So that's just what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah, if Bam or if Sonny Edwards would have just done completely awful against Bam, right? Just been completely outclassed, then you can make an argument for him being a hype job. But he did well in the fight. Like, he was doing really good. He landed some good shots on Bam Rodriguez. So Definitely not a hype job, man. He was just not as good as Bam Rodriguez, and not many people are.
But you know what I like about Sonny Edwards?
What?
His tweet after the fight.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yo, Bam beat my ass."
Man, you know what I'm saying? He can take it, man. Like
He can take a joke.
take a joke.
He's funny.
No ego involved.
No
He's
ego.
like,
Yeah, it's funny.
He beat my ass. I thought I was gonna be able to beat him, but he beat me. Like,
That's funny.
that's just what happened.
Yeah, so that was Bam showing out his closing show for 2023, and he did it in good fashion. Now a unified champion, and he's only 23, so he's got a lot of career, a lot of more big fights hopefully in his horizon. So I'm eager to see what next step he and his team decide to do. But the last final fight that we had this weekend was the final fight for Showtime. David Morrell stepped into the ring and, as expected by most, stopped his opponent in two rounds,
yeah.
TKO stoppage. Ref had to come in and wave it off. So that was the final fight and the final knockout for Showtime. So after, 37 years of being in business, Showtime, a.k.a. Jim Gray.
Al Bernstein. Brian Custer.
Paulie Malignaggi in the past.
Abner Morrell.
All of them, said goodbye to the boxing world. And Jim Gray, for his final speech, you could tell was a little emotional about it. I wonder why, because he's laid off now.
But he's old enough.
Yeah, he's old enough. Yeah, he can retire. He can live a good life after now. But yeah, Showtime is now goodbye. R.I.P. And now welcome Prime. Yeah, Prime Boxing. Let's go.
Yeah, we didn't tune into the David Morrell because we were a little more invested. I mean, it was, I expected it. I think everyone expected David Morrell to get the KO victory. 2 rounds, simple. We were a lot more interested in the Bam Rodriguez, Sonny Edwards, and I think if looking back with 2020 vision with what happened, I would still choose to watch the Bam Rodriguez, Sonny Edwards because it was such a great fight. But yeah, it's just sad, man. They gave a heartwarming speech. They were talking about it all throughout the programming, the Showtime's programming about, reflecting on all the 37 years being in the boxing industry, bringing us the best of the best fights. And it really got me thinking, like, man, that's kind of crazy. Showtime, since I was a little kid, I remember, seeing Showtime everywhere. Showtime was a super huge network for boxing. A cornerstone, people would say, in boxing. And for it to be, going out of business is sad to see, man, because it really brought a lot of big fights, great memories to our lives.
Yeah. Is there any fight in particular that you can think of off the top of your head that you liked?
Well, that I liked, the fight itself, no, but the fight being made. Of course, Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao.
Fight of the century.
Yeah, fight of the century. It got made, but, what we got was kind of shitty. It was not a very good fight, but, they made the biggest fights happen, so.
Yeah, that. Other fights that I can think of that they made was the Mike Tyson versus Lennox Lewis. The other one that I can think of off the top of my head was Diego Corrales against
Castillo.
Castillo, yeah, the first
fight.
one.
Yeah.
Many great fights that I can think of. That it's kind of sad to see that Showtime leaving.
Yeah, it really is, man. Like it's a real RIP because yeah, man, they've just been in boxing for a long time. Yeah, like now
4 decades almost.
Yeah, like we're not gonna be like, oh, let's watch the Showtime fights. We're gonna be like, let's watch the Amazon fights. What the hell? Like Amazon, bro? That's not boxing.
Bezos.
Showtime.
Bezos.
Yeah, Bezos. I don't know what Bezos has cooking up, but listen, I don't know how the expression goes. Something old past, new beginnings or whatever. Hopefully, I got high hopes for Amazon. Putting a little bit more effort into boxing.
Hopefully, like the promos and the build-ups and actually letting people know who's fighting.
Because I feel like Showtime at the end did start getting a little bit lazy with it. Some of their promotions definitely was not the best. So their build-up, just a lot of stuff that they could definitely improve on. And I just feel like, they're already set into boxing that I feel they didn't need, or they didn't feel like they needed to improve. Whereas Amazon, they got something to prove, man. They're the new guys in the sport. They partnered with PBC. All eyes are on them. We don't know who they are. So first impressions really do matter. Hopefully, when they get their first event, it is one to remember and one to cement into our hearts that Amazon, maybe Showtime died, but Amazon is taking its place and it's better than ever.
Yeah.
You know what? Amazon should take notes from Misfits 01.
Oh my god!
How to make a mark.
How to start a boxing organization.
2 fights in one night. Gervonta Davis Pitbull rematch. Gervonta Davis Hector Luis Garcia rematch.
Dog, dude.
He's got 2 rematches in
He's
one
gonna
night.
sun them again, dude. Oh my gosh.
That'd be funny.
Hilarious.
They add a tag team in.
Oh my gosh. Imagine Amazon takes it into a more like influencer, like entertainment part instead of like pure boxing. Oh my god, that'd be crazy.
That'd be so funny, bro.
That'd be crazy.
You have Boots and Earl Spence versus Crawford and Mario Barrios.
As a tag team, bro.
Tag team,
That's hilarious.
That
That would be funny.
That would be hilarious.
That would be funny.
But so those were the fights this week. Moving on to next week, we have the Day of Reckoning.
Mm-hmm.
Big heavyweight showdowns going out in Saudi. Shout out Saudi.
Shout out Saudi, man.
Shout out Saudi.
Making saving boxing.
Making these fights happen. Regardless, we have the double header between Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. I wish. But we have Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker, and we have Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallin. Now, this is a very important fight for both the fighters, you know, in the aspect of Deontay and Anthony Joshua, because there are many reports saying that if both fighters are to win this next coming weekend, they will face off each other next year, you know, in March. Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua, a fight that's been also marinated as well, you know. It possibly could have happened like 2 years ago, back in 2021, if not that fight. Joshua and Fury, there you go. Would have maybe happened, but, you know, Deontay Wilder wanted his trilogy against Tyson Fury, and then, you know, went to court and everything and won. Regardless of that, besides that, Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua has been a fight that many boxing fans have been wanting to see since like 2018, you know, when they're both in their primes. Now we're like 4 or 5 years from that, and we may finally be able to see who's the better heavyweight between these two. But first, they gotta win their upcoming fights. What are your guys' thoughts about the Day of Reckoning?
Yeah. Firstly, I'd like to tip my hat off to Saudi, man, because they really are doing a big service to boxing. Like, these guys throw millions of dollars to set up these events. And I feel like a lot of the boxing community kind of doesn't really notice. Like, this is a big, you know, achievement for Saudi Arabia, and to make big fights like the heavyweights, Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, Dimitri Bivol, be on the same card, it's literally unheard of. Like, this is the type of stuff like Don King used to do. We used to have like stacked undercards.
They got Don King money. They got Don King money.
Hey, but we got the result we wanted, right? the boxing fan was satisfied.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean, Saudi Arabia, great country, man. Because thank the Lord for them, because like they're really, you know, bringing these boxing fights, you know, happen.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not the first time that AJ has been over there to Saudi Arabia for a fight. You know, he fought in the rematch against Andy Ruiz over there and stuff like that. So Saudi Arabia overall has been coming in clutch for boxing, especially heavyweight boxing. And I think it's just going to continue to be a big staple within the boxing world. I think possibly within like 10 years we might see big boxing like fights over there instead of maybe in the United States, or, you know, I think Las Vegas is the staple of, like, you know, the mecca of boxing. New York, the mecca of boxing. But I think Saudi Arabia might be able to compete with them and stuff like that. So, you know, props to them. In respect to the fight, I really hope both of these men win. I hope AJ wins. I hope Deontay Wilder will win, so then Saudi Arabia can then again hook it up next year and we can watch them fight February. Okay, March.
Yeah, I feel like they both are obviously the favorites. I mean, I think Deontay Wilder has a tougher fight against Joseph Parker.
Yeah,
Joseph Parker is.
You could argue that.
Yeah, Joseph Parker is a solid opponent. He's been in the top 10 of heavyweights for quite a while now, actually.
He was also world champion.
He beat Andy Ruiz.
He
beat Andy Ruiz. Like, he's a solid opponent. He knows what he's doing. He has experience in there. He has good boxing technique ability. So yeah, I think that's probably gonna be Deontay's harder fight. But Deontay Wilder, he just has that finishing touch, man, and he still does have it. You know, he showed against the Hellenius fight. He still has it after all this time. You know, he's not in his prime anymore, but his power, I guess, still is.
That power is never going away.
It's never going away. It's crazy. So I'm expecting him to win devastating KO. That's what I'm expecting, because Joseph Parker gets hit. Every heavyweight gets hit, man, and you just can't get hit against a guy like Deontay Wilder. So I'm expecting a KO there. In regards to Joshua, he's going up against Otto Wallin. Otto Wallin is an interesting fighter because he kind of made a name for himself when he was had a really close fight with Tyson Fury.
Yeah, he cut him, right? That's the fighter that cut him.
Nasty cut in Tyson Fury's eye. Just completely splitting his face open. It was kind of crazy to see. And he was also doing a good job in the fight. Tyson Fury, of course, pulled out the victory. But it was still a good showing for Otto Wallin. You know, he showed that he can compete with the top of the top heavyweights. So with Anthony Joshua, that was a good fight. I think it's a good fight because AJ, you know, he kind of needs a little boost in energy, energy or
confidence in his stock. Yeah,
confidence. Yeah, like, you know, he shouldn't be taking big fights like that. I think he needs to get his confidence back, get his power back.
A stepping stone.
Stepping stone, exactly. Yeah. So that's what I think.
Well, I mean, there could be an upset there. I mean, AJ has locked himself in a dark room for months now, so hopefully he has unlocked something or learned something new about himself.
Hopefully he hasn't gone insane.
Oh, insane!
Yeah.
Maybe I do want him to be insane. Maybe we can see a glimpse of 2016 AJ.
Yeah.
This Saturday. But yeah, no, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a Wilder KO. And Parker, good fighter, solid fighter, but I think Wilder is just levels above him. That power, the reach, and everything. And Anthony Joshua, it just kind of depends. It really is a stepping stone for him.
He's a hit or miss fighter.
It's kind of a hit or miss now at this point. So I'm interested to see how he does. He hasn't looked too good in his other fights as well. So interested to see.
Yeah, he's coming off the Hellenius fight. Yeah.
Who?
Joshua.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. He's coming off the Hellenius fight.
And Hellenius was able to touch him up.
Yeah, he did not look that great. I mean, Otto Wallin could definitely pose some problems on AJ. Mm-hmm. So AJ better be working hard instead of just locking himself in a dark room.
Yeah.
He better be, you know, in camp.
I think he's training, but
Let's hope.
I hope so.
You know, 2024, we might be able to, you know, Saudi Arabia might be cooking something because we got the undisputed fight between Fury and Usyk already underway for next year. So imagine we get the winner from that, and then the winner from that, I guess, to fight the winner of Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. And you know what? Plot twist. You know, let's add a little bit more spice into this. What? You know, the winners fight at the main event, and then the losers fight at the co-main event on the same card. Saudi Arabia, bro, hit me up.
Hit me, you know,
hit me up, bro. I'm cooking something.
Boxing
here.
Organizers.
I'll be your promoter.
Yeah.
You know, maybe, you know, like I said, Saudi Arabia also. You know, some of the people involved in making these fights from Saudi Arabia have said that they want to continue making these big fights, not only for the heavyweights, but also just for boxing overall. You know, they were speaking about wanting to make what's another fight? Terrence Crawford. I forgot against who.
Boots.
No, not against Boots.
Zoo.
I don't even know against who. I forget. No, but they were mentioning big fights that this was a while back.
Oh, okay.
But they were talking. They want to make big fights happen. You know, the big fights that aren't being made now. They want to make them. So, I mean, maybe hit up Gervonta Davis and Devin Haney. Make sure they fight, you know.
Facts.
Make these fights happen. Because as a boxing fan, you know, you want to see these fights happen. You know, you look over at the UFC, and you see a lot of big fights always happening. And, you know, they're always talking about it. They're always selling out the venue. They're always trending. So, I think it's time for boxing to start, you know, getting their shit together and start to make these fights happen. And that starts with maybe Saudi Arabia coming up into the boxing industry.
Yeah, man, because they have millions of dollars to just throw at these fighters.
That oil money is no joke.
Yeah, and that's what those fighters always they always use that excuse, oh, more money, or I need a better split percentage, or this, you know, they always hide behind these little tacky negotiation tactics that everyone knows is just they don't want to fight. But with Saudi Arabia, you can't make that excuse because you told them, I want 2 million more. Okay. That's what they come back. They're like, okay, sign this right here. You get 2 million more. You know, like that's why they've been so successful, just because they have so much money, and it's just the boxers have no other excuse other than to be like, okay, I'm gonna fight for the money that I believe I deserve, or I'm gonna cower it out and not fight. They have a simple decision to make.
Yeah, I'm expecting a lot more boxers from different weight classes to then have their main events over there in Saudi Arabia. I think it just, like I said before, I think within 10 years it's going to be really, really fucking huge. So I guess we did our predictions for the heavyweights, but what about Bivol?
Yeah, with Bivol, he's fighting some guy that I don't know. Even Arthur.
Lyndon Arthur.
Lyndon Arthur. Yeah. So I don't know who Lyndon Arthur is. I'm gonna be honest with you. It didn't show his record right here either.
Yeah. It kind of sucks how Bivol's career has gone since beating the guy at Face of Boxing.
Yeah.
Like, he almost went unknown. Yeah, like
it's a bit strange.
Yeah, he fought that Mexican, and he fought then what's his name, Gilberto Ramirez later that year, and then also put on a great performance, and then he just kind of went MIA last year.
Yeah, I think the thing that lacks with him a lot with Bivol is that he doesn't really have a personality. So he's not really marketable.
Well, he has one now.
Does he?
I mean, the allegations.
Oh,
the allegations.
I kind of forgot about that. I guess it's something to talk about,
Yeah.
But yeah, with Bivol, I mean, he's just not. Yeah, I don't think he's not that marketable.
Yeah.
Doesn't really, for some reason, he has great skills. But I'm expecting, of course, him to win as well. This guy is unknown.
Yeah.
So, I'm expecting Bivol to show out.
And then hopefully next year, if the other guy in this weight class, Beterbiev, is successful next year, hopefully Saudi Arabia can make that fight happen as well. Undisputed. Oh my God, at 175. When was the last time we saw something like that?
And then Canelo goes up and then becomes a two-time undisputed. Two-time undisputed at 175 by beating the winner.
Wow, that'd be crazy.
That would be crazy.
Yeah. Prediction?
I mean, Lyndon Arthur, his only loss was against Anthony Yard, and that was a while back. Yeah,
that's solid fighter.
That's his only loss. But I mean, on paper, Bivol is expected to win. He's the man who beat Canelo. He's the man who's still undefeated, and he's the champion at his weight class, one of the champions. So on paper, and to many of the boxing viewers, they're expecting him to showcase his skills and maybe, even get the stoppage on him. But yeah, Bivol's in a situation right now where he has to perform because, he hasn't fought in a very long time. He's been inactive. He's been dealing with a lot of stuff in his personal life, that's restricted him from actually fighting. But what's it called? He needs to really showcase what he brings to the table, and that is a beautiful skill, a beautiful style that he learned from the amateurs that he's brought up to the pros, and it works for him. It causes problems. It's smart. He's a high IQ, high level thinking fighter when he steps inside the ring. So this weekend he has to show to the world why he is the champion and why he is someone who should be feared. Because people also have him on the top 10 pound for pound. Yep. ESPN has him on the pound for pound list. Mm-hmm. So he has to show to the world why he's a pound for pound fighter.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So I'm not expecting to see him lose. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's everything, no?
Yes, I think we got it.
Yeah. Those are the only fights next week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. And then it would be on a Tuesday or something like that.
Oh, should we give that
next week?
We can do next week. Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, let us know what you guys thought about this weekend. Jake Paul ready for KSI? Or JK? No, it's probably the other way around. Is KSI ready for Jake Paul?
Yep.
Or is who's a better opponent, Andre August or ISHO Speed? Let us know what you thought about Sonny Edwards' performance. Is he actually a quitter, or is Bam Rodriguez just a different level than Sonny Edwards? David Morrell, what's next for him? A lot of big fights for him at 168. Maybe a showdown with Benavidez if the Canelo fight doesn't happen for him in May. And lastly, what are your guys' predictions about the Day of Reckoning, this big heavyweight showdown? Does Deontay Wilder knock out Parker? Does Otto Wallin pull off the upset against Anthony Joshua? Are they going to fight in March next year? Let us know down below. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on all of our social medias. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and X. We also have a Discord. It's on the link in the description below. And yeah, follow us there. Keep up with our polls that we do. We have a lot of more big things coming up for the remainder of the year. And yeah, so this was Pablo.
This was Rulo.
This was Asael.
And this was the Last Round Podcast. Thank you.